give your name and address.
Thank you. My name is Arloa Kaiser. I live at 1421 Melvin Street. We have, at the meetings here, we have been discussing this Nexus pipeline. And my husband and I went to the Michigan Public Service Commission meeting where they are setting a date to discuss fees. In my understanding, those fees are for the Nexus pipeline and the Nexus pipeline itself. Also, there was a discussion, something about FERC and our dam, which is the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, I believe. And my understanding is there was talking, Nexus wanted us to do something, meaning the township, to get, and Doug was saying that it was our FERC license. Well, apparently with FERC right now, they do not have a quorum. They only have 2 members out of the 5-member team. And the lawyers were talking about dates and that type of thing, and they have their little bit of thing, so they're not sure to set a concrete date of when they're going to have these meetings, but that will come at the next meeting is my understanding. And I also told the company that they were not going to do I told the Attorney General, his proper title is State Public Administrator Assistant Attorney General, and he gave me his card, and I told him I was going to give it to our attorney, Mr. Winters.
Okay.
So, the lawyers from the Nexus people were talking about they want to have the pipeline done, my understanding was by November. They were not talking to me, they were talking amongst themselves, but I'm a great eavesdropper sometimes. So,
And we appreciate that.
anyway, that's all I found out.
Okay.
But they also did say, the Assistant Attorney General said that what we should do is when people come to the meetings, take their names and addresses and send those to them,
Okay.
so that they know who is opposed to the pipeline. I'm not sure at this point in time if there's anything we can do to stop it, but
Okay, thank you, Ms. Kaiser. Attorney Winters can give a brief update on some of the things that we've learned since the last meeting.
Thank you. In regards to the status of what's going on in regards to what is the Nexus pipeline, the situation is right now, as Ms. Kaiser stated, there's two different avenues that are going. There's 2 different agencies involved that are dealing the issue as we speak. It's true that FERC has the jurisdiction that is going to vote at some point in time whether to approve the actual proposed route that's been submitted by Nexus/FPS/ATE for a certificate of necessity. In that regard, I had a telephone conversation the other day as we did my report to the board, Treasurer Doe is present, with the representatives of the Michigan Sierra Club in regards to a number of issues pertaining to this issue. As they pointed out to myself and Mayor that during the last 30 years, there's only been one occasion for 30 years in which FERC has not approved a certificate of necessity. So, talking with FERC, it's at least my understanding that the certificate of necessity is going to be dealt with by FERC once they in fact do have the form. Right now they do not have the form. There'll be 3 additional members that will be nominated by the President. And the vast groups, individuals have to be confirmed by the board of Senate. Tonight during our work session, I also got a phone call from the regional manager of the Pipeline Hazardous Materials Safety Administration Agency. They are the ones who had jurisdiction over Nexus's request to waive the authorization requirement as it pertains to pipeline being proposed that will go through Ypsilanti Township. That is the only stretch of pipeline being proposed that is required by this one to have the authorization in it. That is because of the urban area of the township, that's more urban, most of the area coming through Ohio. I'm talking with the lady this evening in regards to the status of that. There are a number of items that have yet to be submitted by Nexus and Medicare. We also had opportunities to discuss this issue with the Sierra Club, the Physical people, as well as the Washington Association. I've asked that as the days forward, whatever is going to be filed and resubmitted by Nexus, that we allow them an opportunity to review the information. She did tell me right now that long story short, that due to the Nexus having to refile this information, that once it's filed and received by Pipeline Hazards Board, we will send it to their environmental engineers for review. After that, there'll be at least 30, if not 90-day timeline for what we call public comment. And on the Federal Register, that's where you locate exactly the information that's public comment. I've also requested that she confirm the video, I guess, for that conversation with her. And we kept advised as to the actual public comment period is going to be understood. So right now, there's still opportunities for us to wait on the issue to be done once we get to see the plan. She did tell me, and I don't know if we heard the information at the time, so I'm going to give you her opinion, because she's the one that, based on the Kansas City, Missouri, she's the one that's the regional administrator. She's the one that went to regards to her knowledge and regards to the status of this application. Told me this evening that while FERC has the jurisdiction to obtain routing approval for one pipeline located as a pipeline nexus material for the organization issue, she did tell me this evening that Nexus cannot move forward with construction of the pipeline if it is approved by the until they have dealt with the issue of organization. In other words, you can't have both and Nexus tell us that they get that's not working. That's true. There's static on your end because this is really the third time you've asked that question. The reason why I asked it 3 times is because we've got 3 different answers that are not Nexus spectrum. So that's the status of the situation. Continue to engage in dialogue So that's the latest. And the gentleman's card. We're going forward. Information is posted at the Federal Register for the pipeline is going along on the line of the board. Very there. It's my friend. Unless you have a little life, you spend time on the going through all this stuff. That's how I found it. We're not looking at the use, but we can't do it now. Online. find it, but to find it, which we
Hello, my name is Sydney. I am the president of Eastern Michigan University's Native Student Organization. I'm also a member of MEAC, which is the Michigan Indigenous Action Collective. And I have recently been working with my student org as well as the students at U of M and everyone involved in MEAC. We recently held a phone bank, phoning our representatives and senators, encouraging them to act on Nexus and shut down Enbridge Line 5. And I just wanted to let you guys know that you have the support of the community behind you, and we kind of are pushing for our representatives to do everything they can to ensure that this pipeline does not go through our township, because, you know, there's no benefit to us and we're trying to protect our community. So you have our support with anything that you need. The phone bank that we held was pretty successful. We got through to a lot of people, and we just want to thank you and let you know that we'll do whatever you need us to do. Thank you.
Thank you for coming out. Your involvement. Any other comments? Ms. Kaiser? I'm sorry, I'd like to...
No, that's fine. Arlo Kaiser, 1421 Melvin Street. Can I just encourage anybody that is here to write your Attorney General, the Michigan Public Service Commission? And the Michigan Public Service Commission really helps a lot, giving you information and that type of thing. So I would encourage you to do a little writing. Thank you.
For other public comments?
Hello there, Andrea Pierce, 1188 Juneau. I wanted to let you know that yesterday we held a big, well, sort of big, rally over by MC Water Tower, and it was responding to Nexus and, of course, Line 5, and we're doing what we can. We had people writing letters, emailing, calling. This photo gave an action item sheet with representatives for the Michigan Holdup, including Congress. Everybody were trying. Also, I want to let everybody know that there's a Michigan Pipeline Advisory coming up. March 13th is a Michigan Pipeline Safety Advisory Board meeting. It's March 13th, 7109 West Saginaw Highway, Lansing, Michigan. It starts at 1:30. They want you to write ahead of time to get 5 minutes. If you show up to speak, that is. If you just show up, then you only get 3. So we got representatives going to that too.
Thank you very much. So you can also speak on the agenda items that are on the agenda.
Hi, Darlene Duvall, 1107 Georgina. And I have a question, and I know that it's coming up here regarding Green Oaks. And I know that the prices are not going to change. I saw that. But my concerns for being a member is a couple of things. Whether or not I can get tea times as a member for like Monday through Friday, like at 10 o'clock every morning. And the other question is, because it was brought to my attention, there's always been this Wednesday morning ladies' league that starts at 7. They have tea times from 7 until 9. And they play the front one week, the back the other week. Because we have no way of knowing how things are going to transpire, I guess these are questions I would like answered before I decide whether or not I want to join up. Okay?
All right, thank you so much for answering. We'll get them answered before you join. Are there any other comments?
Mitty McMaster, 1180 East Forest Avenue, Ypsilanti, Michigan. My question is, and I do appreciate Kirk taking the matter under consideration and not changing the rates for the members. I appreciate that very much. The thing that I'm concerned with is on twilight, 5 o'clock and 6:30. If you allow that to happen, that means if you have a twilight time at 6:30 to get a discount, you may get in 3 or 4 holes before it's dark. unless it's late July and early August. And we meet with friends out there that work because we're retired, and we like to play golf with them and introduce them and try to get them to join. This is the problem with Green Oaks. We're not getting members. We're losing members. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we encourage them to come out and play golf. I have never, and I'm saying never, seen on a website a twilight time as late as 5 and 6:30. And I golf a lot, and I've golfed a lot of places. I've seen it as late as 4 o'clock, and I can understand that. But I really wish the board would consider changing this and not allowing this to stay at 6:30 in the evening. I don't think it's going to bring any business to Green Oaks. And the other question I have is in Kirk's letter that he sent out. Hang on just a minute. I want to pull it up because I don't want to quote this wrong. Look at here, okay, so I can see it. Sorry. He states with an asterisk here, please note that the Green Oaks Director of Golf has the authority to modify rules, policies, and rates as on a needed basis. I'm a big rule follower. I think I follow the rules. I think everybody should. But I don't think it should be changed midstream. So I just want to make sure that whatever rules we're putting in place are staying for this year. Thank you.
Thank you. We did discuss it at length at the work session, and before we vote on it, we can go over the recommendation again. You not hear me? Are new things you can't hear me? Really? Okay, careful. I will talk louder. Is that better? Okay. The consent agenda, is that all the public comments? For consent agenda, we have minutes of the February 7th work session, executive session, and regular meeting. And we have statements and checked, as well as the choice healthcare deductible and the January 2017 treasurer's report. Motion Doe, support Rowe to approve the consent agenda. Are there any questions, corrections? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item, the attorney's report. Mr. Williams, do you have a...
Chairperson gave the update on the Nexus, I think, and also wanted to sort of maybe tag on to Supervisor Stublo's comments to Morocco during the work session that the Sheriff's Department continues on several cases, even in conjunction with the 14th Board, continue to follow up on enforcement actions in regards to court orders, and sometimes what starts out to be a rather routine follow-up can lead to this one case that I won't go into the address at this point in time, but led into a very, very serious situation. Ten pit bulls, four of which tried to attack the officer, back out, resulted in seizure. And the point I'm making right now is that a lot of these things start out as routine through the full bad very, very quickly. Fortunately, no one was injured. Fortunately, at the same time, there was, again, 14th immigration officer doing her job, as well as having backup of the Sheriff's Department to accompany her enforcement action, and again having a quick response as the officer calls for backup, having such a real collaborative effort out of the Sheriff's Department. A lot of times we'll walk out of here and go to our cars and everything. We've got long days. But for the most part, most of us really don't face dangers day in, day out of our firefighting. We're very grateful to the Sheriff's Department as well as the 14th. We wanted to at least make that public back hopefully spread the word to all of them. We appreciate that.
Mike Morocco with the Sheriff's Office. Thank you very much, sir. I think I agree with you that the collaboration we have with the board and with Township Ordinance and with the Fire Department, with Ypsilanti Township Fire Department is fantastic. I think we're in a better position than we've been before. And we continue to use what we have to be the most effective that we can be by working together. And that includes neighborhood projects, getting jobs for our at-risk youth. We're doing a lot more than writing tickets and arresting people. I mean, we've really taken a proactive stance. That's all based on our sheriff. He's quite a person. He had quite a vision coming in. And I think over the last 6-7 years, we've really come a long way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tonight's agenda about this is here to handicap humanity. Located and for the benefit of neighborhood trustees,
Can you hear him?
Can you hear me at all? Press down a little bit. Okay. Okay, what I was going to try to say is that in regards to this part of the report, I just wanted to make another notation about the efforts of the township to achieve neighborhood stabilization. And it takes on, it's like the spokes to a wheel, with, with the center being the goal of neighborhood stabilization. And how you get there, you take a number of paths, but the goal is going to be that center piece, neighborhood stabilization. Tonight, I know Rob from Habitat's here to talk about 2 more homes are going to rehabilitate and invest in. Rob was speaking to that. But some of those spokes to the wheel that I'm describing, not only does it include a strong partnership with Habitat for Humanity, and again, it goes back to comments about the efforts of the Sheriff's Department. If we identify houses in the township in which there is evidence and confirmation that there's drug dealing going on, those houses are going to be taken to circuit court, and are going to ask the court to continue and enforce the padlock statute, because we want to put out no welcome signs to anybody who's thinking about moving into the township who wishes to engage in drugs, zero tolerance. We also continue to acquire properties from the Washington County Treasurer's Office each year with what's called the right of first refusal. That's where we purchase properties that are up for tax foreclosure, buy those, and sell them back to Habitat at cost. They continue to rehabilitate the properties, all in that avenue, right of first refusal. We've also, through the efforts of the Office of Community Standards, the Township Board has to be the one to authorize these cases. People do not take care of the properties, or they walk away from properties, as the banks have done in many cases, go to court on a public nuisance theory. Many times, the houses are not going to be rehabilitated by the homeowner or by the landlord in many cases. We end up, in some cases, actually having the banks discharge their mortgages to take the property directly to Habitat. Again, Rob will talk about a house on Heather Ridge, where today they got their hands on a house that has been very, very problematic in the township in regards to, that's how that property came to the control of Habitat. The township following that avenue of enforcement. We also continue to work with Fannie Mae, one of the largest mortgagees in the United States, where we have properties that are going to be handed up for sale, try and get Habitat involved and take advantage of those properties, acquiring them through it. Likewise, we have signed up for what we call the HUD First Look program, which again allows the township to weigh in where appropriate to try and acquire these properties. So there's a lot more probably than what I'm just saying right now, but as you can see, there are a lot of different pathways the township has been following over the last 10 achieve neighborhood stabilization. I know right now for a fact that it is paying off. Neighborhoods are being stabilized. It's actually carrying one house at a time. Then, two more things real quick. In regards to the firefighters, I know that Chief Coleman was here earlier. Firefighter Colisac Township, yes, we are starting to ramp up our negotiations with the fire department. So I'll be contacting earlier in the near future to give us some background information. The last contract that we had 3 years ago, and where things may be heading this time around. At the same time, we continue to monitor the progress of the dewatering of Tyler Pond. Because once that pond has been lowered, that's to help the township's obligations in regards to the Tyler Dam. It's also in conjunction with development of ECM. Once the dewatering has occurred, the township will receive another payment of $300,000. That's our negotiations that took place involving the development of the ECM facility. So, as all of us probably attest to, there's a lot of things going on at one time. A lot of things are happening up here. The board members continue to get more information on the basis to help them get some position to understand all these things that are going on in this and really read them because I get phone calls. Which is good. I like the phone calls saying they read the letters. And so there's a lot going on. I know like stuff will goes to meetings sometimes. A lot going on.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Tina Reed, 129 North Street. And I had a question. Private person letting Habitat, getting these homes and letting Habitat have them or sell them to it. But what about the members of the community if people are interested in homes and you take them off the auction, sell them or give them to Habitat? You don't have the opportunity to invest or purchase for the same purposes that you're trying to do.
For home ownership? That's
exactly. Or, yeah.
Respond to that. The tax foreclosure auctions, the right of first refusal is going to go to a governmental agent or to a government. In other words, right of first refusal does not go to individuals. So the only person
I understand that.
But in regards to the ones we do identify, for every one that we purchase, there's probably 10 to 20 that we don't purchase. In other words, those properties end up going through the foreclosure process. We have one person in the township that's probably acquired 25 properties by going to the shared foreclosure sales and purchase those properties outright. So there's plenty of opportunities, and if the people like to buy their properties besides the ones
Give the best houses to Habitat. I've been on that site, and we're interested in several homes. My son, I have young adults. I know young adults. And we go on there, and they're on there, then they're taken off. And they're the better of the homes. Yes. And they sit a lot, too. I've seen some that's taken off that's been there off for at least a year, where somebody could have purchased. I just think it should be a better way. I know you don't want people buying them and renting them out because then you get slumlords. But everybody is not a slumlord. They can bring moderate income to families who want to live, and there are people that want to buy for their own home ownership.
Yeah,
and I think it should be a better way to do it because I've monitored that for a while, and I've heard a lot of people complain about it. Not just me. I mean, you might not hear it, but
yeah, and I can understand your concern, and we have tried everything, and we use like every tool in the toolbox to try to stop the amount of rentals in our neighborhood and to encourage home ownership. We spend a certain amount a year doing that, and it's been very successful. But I do know, though, because we want our family, right, and our residents to have first opportunity to buy habitat homes too, and there are always looking for people to buy habitat homes.
That process is not great.
I'm sorry?
That habitat process is not the best process. If a person can purchase their home and fix it up, and you can't stop people from renting their homes, but you can hold them to ordinance and make sure that their houses and things are kept up, and that you don't have the slumlords in the neighborhoods looking crazy. I mean, but people in the community should have an opportunity without going through habitat. They have money, funds, they work, and they should be able to purchase and fix their home, live in it, or do what they want. They're not gonna, if they're investing in a home and putting their money in it, they're not gonna have somebody tear it up.
Yeah,
And you can't stop rentals. I don't care where you go. You got rentals in West Bloomfield. You have a lot of rental property. You can't stop that.
and we don't want to stop all rentals, but in 2008, we had 700 single-family rentals in Ypsilanti Township. We went up to over 3,000. And our residents are begging for assistance to deal with this, and it's caused a lot of turnover. But I do understand your point, and I also know there are several people who are. There was a gentleman here at the meeting at the last board meeting. I don't know if you were here. He bought a foreclosed house. We've had him in court for 2 years to get it
Oh,
fixed.
well, that's 2 years, and he said when he bought it, he wasn't even able to live in it. Yeah.
Most of them aren't. There's a lot of the homes that are not
There's a
habitable.
lot in my area right now that were taken off and for the right to refusal, and they've been empty, and they're still empty over a year, 2 years. So
It takes
that
about a
process
year.
doesn't
Yeah.
work either.
Well, I think what we should do is have a presentation so everyone can see the investments that we've made, the investments and for energy efficiency to help, especially people who want to keep their bills down. They completely make them energy efficient. It does take anywhere between 12 months to 18 months in order to turn them around. And then what they do is that it increases the sale of the house. When they sell it to someone, it's a 0% interest, but they have to go through sweat equity
Yes,
and training.
I understand the whole
But
process.
just a moment, let me finish, please. And then it also increases the assessed value in the home in your neighborhood. So Joanne McCullum, who's the president of the association, had requested that we look at, the assessed values in West Willow, which is, and it went up. Just a moment.
It has
Just
went
a
up.
minute, please. It went up 15% in the Bell side and 20% in the West Willow side because of the sale of homes. So I do understand what you're saying. It's a hard situation to decide, but we really feel like we have to do whatever we can to protect the neighborhoods and to help first-time homeowners get in a house.
I understand that. Me as a community person living, if I wanted to purchase a house, that would be my first-time house. I know the property value has gone up. There's a lot of people that bought houses that weren't Habitat. And I know for a fact, and I'm not going to say what street, who told me or whatever, but it was a person from Habitat. They redid a house and everything, and the person was saying, well, that house is valued at $100,000. We put all this work into it, blah, blah. Yeah, but zero interest, that's all good, all of that. But try and sell it for that. You're not going to get it in West Willow. I don't care. You're not going to get it, and you're not going to. But all I'm saying is that community members who work, that's not interested in Habitat, that have their own money, and they want to live in a house and purchase it off the auction, should have the opportunity before they get snatched off for the right to refuse. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. Clerk Rowe?
I don't know if there's an answer, but I hear what you're saying. Maybe there's a place where we can meet, maybe working with Habitat, not to say that we're going to buy those good houses on first refusal, I can tell you, because we're not going to take the chance of having a landlord get them. Whether from that point forward, if there's something where we could deed restriction, make you require, there might be a place where maybe work with Habitat, because we know they're so good at telling us what do we need to make this person sell, or, if the township board wanted to sell it to one of our residents for their home, not to rent, that we know the legal, they could fix up the strategies of making sure that that's guaranteed, but we would need maybe to work with Habitat to say, look, you need to get a contract signed saying that they will do this and this and this. So maybe there's a place in between, I don't know, and I think I actually talked to you on the phone before, because I think you always call after the first refusal.
I called
Yeah.
at the county bill. Yeah.
Okay, maybe it's not you, but I have had another female resident who has called saying, "Oh my God, you guys snatched up all the good ones." So maybe, I don't know, maybe there's a place that we brainstorm come up, because I can tell you though, we're not letting them go to landlords. And if there's a place where we can purchase them and work out with someone, it sounds like you want to purchase one for yourself and you're a first-time home buyer, whether it's you or not or somebody else, maybe there's a place where, but we're going to make sure the township's, the neighborhood's interests. I don't even know if it's possible. So
It's not. You're not going to stop landlords from renting houses. And you're not going to stop a Habitat person from getting a house and renting it.
yeah, we
Not
can't.
gonna
They
do
can't rent it.
Or once they purchase and their agreement is done, they can do whatever they want.
No, they can't.
Yes, they can, they can lose them too. They can't lose them. They can lose them.
Well,
they can, and you can't make a person purchase a house and go through all that and say that they never can sell or rent their house. You can't.
I think it's 15
not.
years that they can sell it. In the agreement, you can sell it after 15 years. But you know what I'd like to do is have a presentation at one of the work sessions on this and get input. And just so everyone can really see the positive things that has happened with Habitat and how we can deal with it. Trustee Monica?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I know Christina has talked to me about this on a number of occasions, and I do agree. Habitat is doing a great job with revitalizing these homes. But I also believe Christina has a point in trying to figure out where we can possibly find a happy medium. Because you cannot get everyone that may buy a home, right, to not rent. But in the same aspect, we should discourage that, because what happens is that I'll be honest, discourage it as much as we can, because what happens in some cases is what happened, and I know you know, in 2008, 2009, there was a lot of homes that were bought in groups, especially in West Willow, and they were rented out, and it really sent the neighborhood into a frenzy. I'm not saying that you would do that, I'm sure you would, but we have to make sure that we find a happy medium for the neighborhood stability.
I'm not knocking Habitat at all, but I'm just saying that's not the only option for a person to purchase a home. Habitat is not the only option. And 2008, 2006, 8, 9, the whole housing crash, that would happen everywhere, where people bought up, lost their homes, they abandoned them, walked away from them, had a mortgage problem. Everybody knows that. It was a bad time. And people with money did buy up houses that people lost for taxes. I mean, that happens. But moving forward, there are people that want homes that have money, that save their money and can do that, and they don't have to go through Habitat, because they can buy their homes and fix them and live in them. And you still have members of the community. You're members of your community. Been here. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That concludes the attorney's report. Under old business, we have the request of Kirk Sherwood, the Director of Golf Operations, to approve the 2017 golf course rates and the Green Oaks Employee Golf Policy. This was tabled at the February 7th regular meeting. We need a motion to remove.
Move from the table.
Motion Rowe, support Ross Williams. We have to do a roll call vote on a table. Heather? Yes. Dan? Yes. Monica? Yes. Karen? Brenda votes yes. Larry?
Yes.
Jimmy?
Yes.
Who's now properly before us.
I'll make a motion that we, at the request of Kirk Sherwood, that we approve the new revised rates that were in our packet. The 2017 golf course rates.
Support.
We're not doing an employee policy.
Support.
So there's a motion and support to approve the revised rates after the last meeting. Dr. Sherwood?
Good evening, Kirk Sherwood, Director of Golf Green Oaks. So the rates that we had in place there, we have determined that the membership rates will stay the same for this year. With the notation that after being evaluated, there's a proposal on the table to take a look at reevaluating what the rates are after this year. The only other thing I'm looking to pass is the few rates that I've changed in gray up there. And at this point, I'm happy to answer any questions in regard to them.
For those who can't read, can you go over the gray rate?
Sure.
It's hard to see.
No, I completely understand. The only rates that I'm looking to change as a seasonal rate, on the weekend, the 9-hole rates to go up by $1, which would take it from 13 to 14. The 18-hole rate would go up to $1, which would take it to 16. This just again because it is a prime rate on the weekend, so I figured we would go up $1 on that for that reason. The season rate for the weekday twilight, I put that at 17 and started at 6:30 because you have leagues that play between 5 and 6 o'clock. If a league is paying $16 and it costs $17 or $18 for twilight, that is why I moved it back behind that. And I do realize this season that we have been going with is May 1st through September 30th. I am used to seeing more of a different in-season rate, but I kept it where it was at as far as the time frame. So the only other adjustments on the weekend and season, I'm looking to go up $1 on the 9-hole rate for 18, which would make with the $5 card fee makes it 23. And then just based on what I saw on tee sheets from the past, I was looking to go with a 1 to 5 rate, which was basically would put you at 29 instead of 34, and also 22 instead of 23. I do want to take Stan's advice, though, and I do think our replay rate is too low at 510, and I was looking to move that to 1020.
And just for clarification on the twilight, during the week, which Ms. McMaster was talking about, I think it was during the week that she comes out. It's only for 9 holes. You don't have an 18-hole twilight rate. Is that correct?
The only 18-hole twilight rate I had in effect was on the weekend, and that would be from 5 to close. Just I think in the past maybe it was 3 or 4, which it looks like it may have been on here. But again, to play from 3 o'clock in the afternoon till dark, just doesn't seem like 6 hours worth of golf for $25 seems like a rate that isn't something I'm normally used to seeing. So I was thinking closer to 5 p.m. with that new rate in effect from 1 to 5.
So that's why you reduced it. You reduced it.
That's why I moved the time frame because the time frame was moved back a little bit. I forgot to note it on here apparently, but the old twilight started at either 4 or 3 without seeing it in front of me. Again, documentation is tough to find on some of this stuff, but that's why it was moved back. But
and if there's flexibility.
Correct, and it might be a situation, again, and it is a valid concern with daylight hours. I mean, we could take a look at that and try to figure out exactly how daylight hours fall so that the twilight rate would be more accommodating at that point. But in the middle of summer, 6:30 to dark for 9 holes when it's getting dark at 9:30 or quarter to 10 in the middle of the summer seems like that would work well. Now, in the beginning, like she said, or in the late fall, maybe that needs to be adjusted a little bit. But
Other comments from... If you have more comments, you can go to the microphone. I'm sorry. The person who does the minutes are not in the meeting, so we're just trying to help.
I'm a little confused here. When you say twilight...
Name for the record.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Eddie McMaster, 1180 East Forest, Ypsilanti, Michigan. Are you saying twilight they can play all night, not just 18 holes or 9 holes?
Kirk, we can't hear your response, and I'm sorry. And
as a typical rule of thumb, what a twilight rate is people pay a fee and then they continue to play until the end of the night.
Okay. If you just look at it, what I'm saying is from spring to summer, if you're playing at 5 o'clock, you're not going to get in no more than 4 or 5 holes to pay that price. If you were given a bigger discount, I could see that. And, it's just something to consider. I want Green Oaks to make money and survive. I'm not in this to try to defeat your purpose. And I just know from playing with other people that we could go to other courses and play, and it start earlier than 5 or 6:30.
And thank you.
Heather? I just wanted to make sure that we answered. I thought at the beginning you guys had an additional question about your ladies group that meets early in the morning. And I don't think we addressed that question, so I just wanted to make sure that was...
She's speaking in reference to the Ypsilanti Ladies Women's Golf League, I believe, on Wednesday mornings. That's correct. I have been in contact with them. They are planning on playing this year. They run tee times from 7 to 9:30, and they alternate sides each week.
So they're all set.
Correct.
All right, are there any other questions?
No, I'm happy to answer anything for it. Because as a member...
Would you go to the microphone and give your name
sorry.
and address?
Darlene Duvall, 1107 Georgina.
Thank you.
I had asked earlier as a member
Talk into the microphone because...
if I wanted tea times at 10 o'clock every morning. As a member, can I book that, like, say, on the Friday, the last day I play, and then book next week?
I guess I would have to find literature on what the booking policy is for the golf course because I haven't seen it. I would guess it probably is a 7-day booking window. Does that seem fair, Stan? I mean, is that...
Oh, you did it?
Well, I think that's fairly consistent. Most courses you can book a week in advance, generally not more than that. I would agree with Kurt. Twilight, my understanding is it's a 1 fee for all the holes you can get in.
Okay.
Just to clarify, so if I start golfing on a Monday, I can book for the next following Monday. That way.
Okay.
I would like to say, though, in reference to the Twilight, I mean, we could actually do a Twilight, as Mrs. McMaster is mentioning, that doesn't go to the end of the night, but we just have to show literature saying that this is a lesser fee just because it's considered a Twilight, but we would be better to call it not a Twilight fee and just a lesser 9-hole fee at a certain point of the day.
Okay. Well, I know there is a sentence that has flexibility on issues like this, but it's hard to address every situation as it comes up. But I know our goal is to accommodate members and be flexible if you have to be in order to accommodate with it, as long as the membership rates are set and that's what people pay.
Correct.
Are there any other questions on this? Trustees? Okay.
I thought I heard the clerk mention earlier that there's no employee policy now. That was taken out from the last meeting.
I said it wasn't in my motion, the policy.
It was determined that the employee policy is an internal control.
Right.
And that,
He said it's so much better than...
thanks, Stephen. And I guess I go back to the last sentence where it says, please note the Green Oaks Golf Director of Golf has the authority to modify rules, policies, and rates. Now are we going to specify which policies and which rates and everything? Is that what we're doing now? Because that goes against what we just talked about in the work session for too long. If we're going to, are we going to micromanage him, or are we going to let him have the autonomy to do what he needs to do?
You're suggesting, yeah, we micromanage.
Like you just said, the policy on employee golf was an internal decision, which leads me to believe or surmise that you didn't have any say in that.
It's his decision.
It was my decision to write a policy based on things that I had seen on the tee sheets.
Seasonal policies are set by HR, and each department head has different ways of seasonal policies. I mean, you have to go through HR, you have to go through a drug test. There's a lot of HR policies and legal things that we go to They do driving backgrounds if they're a driver.
I'm sorry, I should have clarified. In the hiring process, I think Kurt knows where I'm going with employees that are already hired by the golf course to play, because that was what was in the memo. If you work 30 or more hours, you get 2-3 rounds. If it's 30 hours, or I'm sorry, less than 30 hours, it was 1 round. That's what I'm speaking to, not a hiring policy.
Correct.
That's what I thought. So the policy out there has fluctuated so much. The summer I was there, the Greens Committee removed the free golf. The next season it was added back at the director's discretion. I guess I'm just asking, is there going to be a policy for employees to play golf at no charge, or is there not?
I have one written that is a contract that's ready to be signed.
A contract ready to be signed by whom?
Employees.
So is that going to be shared with this board?
Okay.
No, it's not in the packet for today. There's one from February 7th. There's not one from February 21st. I don't have a problem with having it. I'd just like to know what we're doing ahead of time. This was my concern when we talked at the work session.
Well, we didn't talk about this in the work session, so it's a good point to bring it up now. And, I mean, we can approve the policy. He just brought because part of the hiring policy is that you sign this piece of paper that says if you work so many hours, you get 2 rounds of golf. If you work less than that, you get 1 round of golf. So that is part of the hiring policy that you have to sign that document. But we can add it. It doesn't affect. No. Yeah, we can approve it, and I have no problem approving it either. So is that a friendly amendment, Steve?
No, I'm not making an amendment.
Madam Chair. Kurt, can I just have you verify the previous one that we had? I mean, were there any significant changes to the one that you currently have are using?
No, the current one you have is what it is.
Okay. And I mean, just like a discussion point, is that these are at-will employees, and so the discretion always sort of lies with management into changing policies.
Okay. Mr. Yeldon?
I do have to say this now. I get it's his discretion, but we just spent all this time talking about reduced rates and everything else. That was the argument 3 years ago when Larry was part of the Greens Commission, and I said, I want to know what the policy is up front. I have no problem with it either way. I get everything is your discretion. What is it going to be? Are we going to allow them to play free golf or not?
It is if you work over 30 hours, it's 2 rounds a week with cart.
Right.
Not to be broken into 9-hole rounds. And if you play less than 30 hours, it is 1 round.
Rob?
On there last time. It's not in there because it's not what we normally do. We realize that we don't do part-time seasonal employees policies at the board level. So, and that's why I said, do you want to amend it to include it in the motion? That's the only reason it's not here. It's the same policy that you saw that he's going to have everybody sign. I think that.
So you can amend the motion to include the employee premises. I want it.
So,
You want me to change the motion or amend it? Right.
I can put a friendly amendment on in order to add our, I guess you could say, golf season policy for seasonal employees.
Yeah.
As a friendly amendment.
Support. So we have a friendly amendment that includes a golf policy as presented in the packet. All right, are there any other questions?
On this. Is it on this issue? I'm going to withdraw my.
Myla Harris, Vice President, asked me, Local 3451. I know that what's on the table is the Green Oaks Golf Course, and there's a lot of questioning from
Mr. Eldridge. But what I want to know is, where was all that passion and burning and questioning with the rec center, which is right next door? I understand there's new members here, so you, of all people, you would be the veteran here. So the board gets a copy of the budget for all the apartments, correct? And with the financial situation of the recreation center, not one time did I hear or did you approach the union in regards to the recreation center. Not one time was there an idea, a brainstorm, like Mr. Hurt, that you're asking all these questions. Where was that? You know they're next door to the golf course, right?
Absolutely.
Everybody knows that, right? So there are lives at stake here with people may lose their jobs if there's not a plan. So I'm just frustrated because you're asking all these questions about the golf course. See, I'm not worried about the golf course at this point because they have a plan, or you guys have a plan. Where's the plan that you, from the last time you were elected in the committee or the board, where's that? I'm frustrated because we're not talking about just the golf course and that his shoes or socks don't match. We're talking about people may lose their job. Not just ASME, but we're talking about Teamsters, non-union employees. See, you're next door, but I'm over here at the recreation center worrying about other employees. See, I don't think you get it. You're so focused on this. That's what's frustrating to me, to sit here and hear you so passionately, so just dedicated to getting all these questions about recreation. But not one time have you come to the union and said, what can I do for recreation? Have you gone with this warm weather? There's a lot of brainstorming that you could have done and said, and contacted the recreation director or manager, supervisor, I'm sorry, what's your title? And said, hey, there's warm weather. How about we give out free popcorn, we hand out flyers to everybody that's coming in. See, I don't think you understand that it's frustrating that you're caring about only the right side of the rec center and the left side is falling to the wayside. And that's what's frustrating to me. You got a lot of questions. Yeah, but to me, only thing you can offer for the rec center was excuses. Thank you.
I would like to say there's no one threatened of being laid off in the rec center or anything anymore, and we're working with Angie.
I'm sorry, let me correct that. That was the worst case scenario of
okay.
if.
I
yeah,
just want you
exactly.
to know. Yeah.
I apologize. Let me clarify. That was the worst case scenario.
Okay.
If for some reason, because I know you guys have a plan. I know you want to invest in the youth. I know you want to invest in the parks. I know you want to invest in the shelter rentals. I know that you guys won't let the recreation department fall. But worst case scenario, where were the questions then? You get a budget amendment. I mean, you get the budget for each department. And the last time I was here, the only thing that was when recreation, the financial situation came up, the only thing that was discussed was how Karen Lovejoy Rowe situation came upon the committee's decision about a position or something being addressed. But still, there was still no solutions. There's still, where's that, Mr. Eldridge? Where's the questions? Where are the answers? Do you have any answers? Since the last time, I think it was right before the election, is when it was brought to the attention that the recreation department is struggling. We know that, but we're ready to fight. You guys are ready to fight. I know this.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to know is, where was all those hard questions then? Where's that energy that you have for this golf course, which is a great golf course, and it's gonna be great and greater, and it's gonna be at the highest peak. But I get it. Give them a chance. But how about give her a chance? How about give the youth a chance? Have you visited the rec center lately? Besides, after you're done with the golf course, Have you moved over to the left side to see what you can help with over there? Do you know anything about what's going on at the rec center, Mr. Eldridge? That's what's frustrating to me, that these hard questions, I don't think you understand that we have people's frustrations and their complaints, and they're going on deaf ears. I understand the committee has new members, but what I advise to you guys is to continue to look into the rec center, continue to put all of that energy that you have, that passion, into making it equal. Thank you.
Are there any other comments on the rate schedules or items before? And then we have a motion, we have amended motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Under new business, we have budget amendment number 3. Clerk Rowe.
$137. That's for the custodian from part-time to full-time, for the traffic calming devices, for the mower, for the new light that's on the agenda on Russell Street, and also for conversion of the lights from sodium vapor, I think it is, to LEDs. Thank you. Move to increase the fire fund by $10,000. Well, we're increasing the other fund to $8,560,635. And then we're going to motion to increase the fire fund by $10,098. That's for uniforms for this year. Or actually, they got to be budgeted this year. That changes the fire fund to $5,080,842, and to increase the compost fund by $70,000, and that's to pay for the chipper, which is later on the agenda, to $526,534, and approve the line item changes outlined. I would so move the budget amendment.
There's a motion by Rose, support by Doe to approve the budget amendment. Are there questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Number 2 is a request of Habitat for Humanity for funds for the renovation of 2827 Peachcrest and 2828 Woodruff. Sorry. Apologize for correcting the agenda. It's 2827 Woodruff and 2828 Woodruff in the amount of $60,000, which is budgeted in line item 101-950-000-969-010. Motion Rowe, support Mr. Nisley.
Rob Nisley, Housing Director, Habitat for Humanity. Just like to again thank the board and the township for their support over the years. It was an interesting conversation we had earlier, and particularly what Attorney Winters was talking about is that together there are all these different ways we brought stabilization to a lot of different neighborhoods. It's not just a habitat is the only answer, but we are one of the options, and together we've really been able to, through tax foreclosure, through working with OCS, the attorney's office, there have been so many ways we've been able to acquire properties and renovate them and make them energy efficient and sell them to habitat families. So appreciate that. And then I passed out over the break. I just wanted to show you 6 before and afters, and I apologize for not getting this earlier so we could share it with everyone on the screen. But if we start at the top, 1806 Carol Ann was the tax foreclosure that you acquired a year and a half ago. That house is under renovation and will be sold in June to a Habitat family. And just to clarify, because there was some talk earlier about the value of Habitat homes and how that is determined. I mean, every Habitat home is appraised by an appraiser that's licensed by the state of Michigan. So Habitat doesn't set the prices of the homes. These are all set by licensed appraisers. The house on Evelyn, 1037 Evelyn, we had some additional support there through a HUD Challenge grant, which came through the county. That was to help support both the Gulf Village neighborhood and West Willow. That house was sold last May for $127,000. Just recently, we sold a house at 1256 Jones. That house was a tax foreclosure that we completed and renovated over the fall and sold just a few weeks ago. There's a house at 124 Kansas. That house was a market purchase for Habitat. We came before the board and asked for renovation support. That house sold in October of 2016 for $115,000. The house at 570 Green Lawn was a tax foreclosure. That house was all cinder block and quite a task. That renovation we completed and sold in October of 2016 for $114,000. And then finally, at the bottom is 1045 Parkwood. Again, we've got renovation support through the township. In addition, we worked with Office of Community Services to get Chase Bank to donate the property. So I believe originally that house was slated for demolition. Habitat was able to renovate it with some of your support, and we sold it to a Habitat family in December of 2015 for $114,000. And then, in addition, I was just looking back at our work together, and Habitat decided to move to all renovation back in 2008. And so I wanted to go back and see kind of how Habitat and its families have contributed back to the community, because I know that you've made a great investment in Habitat and our work. So I went back, and so over these 9 years, Habitat families have paid the property taxes just over $1 million. So with our checks that cleared last week, been able to provide over $1 million in this 9-year period, including over $220,000 just this past calendar year. Again, appreciate the partnership.
Thank you. And I think if it would be okay, Rob, we can come back and do a presentation, just to show
Absolutely. Yep.
the things that we talk about, because we've been doing it for so many years that sometimes we don't stop and explain it and celebrate some of the successes that we have had and find ways to address concerns if we can. I don't know if we can, but if we can, we should try to, right?
I agree.
All right. Thank you. So, are there any questions of Mr. Nixon? So we have a motion support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is request of Jeff Allen, Residential Services Director, for authorization of agreement with Orchard Hilton and Climate to repackage and rebid the Green Oaks Golf Course cart path improvements in an amount not to exceed $3,900, which is budgeted in line item 101-956-000-801-000, and it will come back to the board. Motion Rowe. Support Gerald Rowe. Other questions, comments? We discussed this at length in the work session. We actually bid the project out. OHM did last year, and they came in very high. We're looking to improve the golf cart paths and some of the things, the concrete replacement. And we want to go back out for bid to see if we can get a better bid than we did last time.
I just want to say there's a lot of safety issues with that. I think that's one of the main things I want to get across with those paths.
Good point. Yep. And it will be brought back to the board for approval. Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a request of Michael Razik, OCS Director, for approval of 5 separate agreements with the Washtenaw County Road Commission to install the traffic calming devices on Allen Road for $21,404, Berwick Road for $40,941, Rachel Drive for $34,028, North Clubview for $45,344, and South Clubview for $25,732, and an estimated total amount of $166,999, which is budgeted in line item 101-446-000-818-022.
To approve.
Motion Doe, support Mr. Wilson. Are there any questions or comments on this?
Erloa Kaiser, 1421 Melvin Street. Why is there such a difference in price in these speed bumps?
Some of the roads are longer, so you have to have more speed humps on them.
Okay, so it's not just one speed
Correct.
bump per road.
Yeah, each They have a number of them. Some has 2, some have 3,
Okay.
some has 6, some have more.
All right, it just such odd numbers that.
Yeah, and yeah, it's a good question. It's a very good question. And someone asked what these were. These are traffic calming devices. Is a fancy word for speed humps. And the township has been doing these for many years to accommodate the residents in neighborhoods who have speeding issues. It's a very strenuous process, actually. 7 homeowners can request a petition to do a study. The Washtenaw County, either the Sheriff's Department or the Road Commission will do a speed study. If the speed study is warranted, then you have to take petitions and get 75% on the people on one street to agree to the installation. And then it comes to the township board. All right. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mike Radzik, for bringing this forward. Number 5 is a request of Karen Walling, Human Resources, for approval to move 1 part-time custodian position to full-time and to post internally in the amount of $43,371.95. Motion Rowe, or support Doe. We discussed this briefly at the budget meeting. We eliminated 1 clerical. It was brought to our attention at that meeting that they need a full-time custodian. We had a full-time and we went down to part-time, so we're taking one of the positions back up to full-time. So we tried it, it didn't work, and we need more help at the rec center. Are there any questions on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 6, the request for authorization to sign the purchase agreement with DTE for the installation of 1 overhead LED street light to be located at the bus stop at Russell Street, just west of South Boulevard, in the amount of $1,381.15, which is budgeted in line item 101-956-000-926-050. Motion Rowe. Support Gerald Rowe to add a street light where there's a bus stop. Are there questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 7 is a request for authorization to sign the purchase agreement with request for authorization to sign the purchase agreement with DTE for conversion of 66 overhead 100-watt high-pressure sodium to 65-watt LED and 140 underground 100-watt high-pressure sodium to 65-watt LED in the amount of $54,384, which is budgeted in line item 101-956-000-926-050.
Support.
There is motion Doe, support Trustee Wilson to approve the request. They're changing the overhead lights and the rest of them in the mature neighborhoods, and it's going to be a much brighter, wider light, and it's also going to reduce the cost of the assessment for our residents. The payback on doing this is 4.5 years, and it also provides a safer, brighter light, which we all want. Are there any questions on this? There's actually a map in the back, and because they're throughout, I know, Galt Village area, Sugarbrook, West Willow, so it's going to really have a positive effect on a lot of residents. Any questions on this? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item is a request to set a public hearing date on Tuesday, March 21st, 2017 at approximately 7 p.m. for the creation of special assessment district for the Huron Heights and Huron Ridge neighborhood cameras. Motion Rowe, supported Ross Williams. Are there questions? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. There's no other business to come before the township. And at the end of the meeting,
Excuse me, Madam Chair, if I could ask the board a question on another matter. On the Tyler Pond Dam, It's my understanding that tomorrow night the Yucca Board will approve a payment to the contractor. And I was informed today that Scott Westover gave me our portion of the payment. Now, I'm not sure how we want to address that. Our portion, YCUA is going to pay $90,360, and we're paying $3,730. Going forward, I'm not sure how the board wants us to handle that. YCUA is administering it. They pay. Do they just send us a memo?
They bill us.
Okay, so
Is that correct, Director Castro?
I just want to make sure it's set, so there'll be a separate billing then. Because he sent me the billing saying our portion, and there was nothing in there I could see where it was a piece. So I have an email back in to Scott on it, but
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure the board was okay with that,
Yes.
that we've got a process set up.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was set up in the agreement in 2016, is that's how we're going to do it.
Okay.
Thank you, though. That's a good question, because we don't want to stop. We want to pay our people who do the work. Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention real quick, at the last meeting, that I think Russell should know. Basically, I'm on March 13th at the Michigan Avenue Library. There's going to be a session in regards to the long-range 2040 plan. Again, that's at Ypsilanti, Michigan Library. Ypsilanti Library, over off Michigan Ave. That's going to be on March 13th from 5 to 7 p.m. So if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions for a long-range 2040 plan, please attend that meeting.
Thank you so much. Under authorization bids, we have the request of Jeff Allen, Residential Services Director, to seal bids for the replacement of roof section A at the community center. Motion Rowe. Support Doe. And those will be brought back to the board for approval.
Yes, ma'am.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 2 is request of Jeff Allen, the Residential Services Director, for authorization to purchase a new Bandit 19 XP chipper with Michigan Dale pricing contract 071B3200141 in an amount not to exceed $70,000, which is budgeted in line item 590-590-000-977-000, and for authorization to dispose of a 2000 and 2003 chipper by trade-in or by selling on the Michigan Intergovernmental Trade Network, MITN. Motion Rowe. Support Trustee Wilson. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 3 is request of Jeff Allen, Residential Services Director, to seek sealed bids for the purchase of a new Toro batwing mower and for authorization to get a quote to repair the 2001 and 2004 mower, correct, and bring it back to the board. We're going to see about repair before we dispose. So, okay. And this will be brought back to the board in 2 weeks to see if we can repair them versus purchasing,
Right.
which is with the golf course. All right. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Number 4 is request of Jeff Allen, Residential Service Director, to seek proposals for an architect to design and bid plans and to manage a project to improve ADA accessibility at the Civic Center in 14B District Court in an amount not to exceed $5,000, which is budgeted in line item 101-956-000-801-000.
Move to approve.
Support. Motion Trustee Wilson, support Gerald Rowe. Are there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion to adjourn. All in favor? The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone who did come out. We appreciate your comment.
that we did, we were able to get the property coming from the building. So, 11, we report, and so we didn't know